Hello, friends. I hope all is well with you. I hope you're still sheltering in place, maintaining all the precautions, and doing the things that is necessary to quell the virus. This is Theo the Thinker here checking in again. Before I get started, let me just send a shout out to my eldest daughter, Olympia, Lady O, because I challenged her to put the album covers of her favorite 10 albums. And I'm on day number 4 right now. I think I listed What's Going On by Marvin Gaye today. But I was just telling Lady O, remember, only one album per artist. So you can't fill up the 10 albums with just Prince. Okay, sweetie? All right. And then, of course, I promise not to fill up all of mine with the elements of the universe, earth, wind, and fire. So we'll be even on that front. Okay. You know, one thing I've discovered here, friends, the emperor has no clothes. And when I say that, I don't simply mean the embarrassment at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, that being the president and his staff cronies. Sure, we already know that that emperor, has been unsheathed for a long time, unclothed for a long time. I'm talking about government agencies, businesses, municipalities, state governments, counties. They all were left exposed. You know how people say, well, you need to have anywhere from 3 to 12 months of savings to tide you over during a rough period. Here we have states and cities and counties and the nation that have cried poor after a month or two. So I've lost a lot of respect for people in high places. And I hope you're doing the same insofar as once we get over this hurdle, maybe a lot of you and a lot of us need to think about public office, need to think about doing some more writing, doing some more blogging, podcasting, voicing our opinion and using our critical thinking. Because obviously, those that we elected or selected to lead, be it in politics or in business, are dropping the ball miserably at this time. Let me say something while I'm thinking about it right now. When you talk about this reopening, and people seem to be reading from that same sheet of music, okay? Reopening our states and stages. Meanwhile, only one state has peaked and has reduced in the number of cases and deaths, and that being New York. And it's because they took a proactive stance, a little bit late, but they took it, and they're getting the virus under control, even though Governor Cuomo is taking some slow and measured steps to make sure that there's not a recurrence of the disease. But the rest of the states in the union, folks, are on the increase in cases and deaths. The overwhelming majority of the remaining 49 states besides New York, they still haven't reached their apex, and the one or two that are in somewhat of decline, it's not a rapid. So really, no other state is really ready to reopen, quite frankly and quite bluntly. But they still are persisting and insisting on reopening. Now, friends, if you are thinkers, critical thinkers, here's what I want you to consider as maybe you have been persuaded into reopening your own life, okay? And I won't fault you for it. I know a lot of you want to get back to your jobs, even as as unfulfilling as those jobs might have been, you still want to get back because you want the paycheck, because certainly the second stimulus hasn't come back. So I understand your frustration. But here's something that I really want everyone to keep in mind if you're going to go through with a reopening of your life. You need to insist that the stores in your area have sanitizer. You need to insist that the stores in your nearby area, or anywhere within 5, maybe 10 miles, have face masks. You need to insist that stores within a relatively small radius are stocked with bleach. You need to insist that stores have in good supply disinfectant spray, Lysol, or even the other non-brand names of disinfectant. Say that 100 times. Disinfectant spray. You need to insist about that. Because if you're being asked to resume life as normal, even though this is the new normal, but if you're being asked to come back to work, you also need to ask the powers that be to supply you with those PPE type products. And I'm saying even at the level of hospital workers. So any given job that you might have that you're returning to, I would insist that management has all those supplies on hand, and even enough for you to take home. And then secondarily, I would say the stores in your nearby area should have those things. You can't, you as a worker or a common citizen can't be left out in the lurch again by authority figures. You're going to have what you need to survive. I'm not seeing that, and not a lot of people are talking about it. This is a serious matter, friend. I watch the news, and I hear a lot of double talk. On the one hand, you hear about the seriousness of the virus and how it's encroaching upon the landscape. And on the other hand, you say, we need to get back to work and back to business. Here's a buzzword, 2 buzzwords I've been hearing. On the one hand, our lives are at stake, but on the other, our livelihood is at stake. And I'm seeing a trend, especially among politicians, of saying the livelihood is more important than the lives that are going to be lost. They've written it off as an inevitability. This is the perspective that I've gleaned from the numerous reports that I watch. I have nothing but time right now, friends, as you probably do as well. So I watch hundreds of state governors, mayors, pundits, bloggers, podcasters talk about this issue. So, as a matter of fact, they need to send me a degree in the mail for all of these commentaries that I've watched and read. And they all seem to be leaning toward livelihood over lives. That's a very dangerous choice to make. Why? Because guess whose lives they're going to be willing to forfeit? Well, I'll tell you. Native Americans, African Americans, Latino Americans, and poor Americans. That is who they are put out there to be human sacrifices at this time. And elderly Americans. Let me not forget that, because the largest preponderance, the disproportionate preponderance of deaths are coming from senior care homes, nursing homes. These are the people that I'm hearing as I listen beneath the surface. These are the people that government officials are more than happy to sacrifice. Especially some of those southern governors and mayors. It's like, we got to get back to business. I need my job back. We got to get back to work. And then you get the brave patriots that come out saying that, I'll die for this cause, for our livelihood, for America. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, friends. And I want you to be better thinkers here. I hope this period makes you a better thinker out there. Critical thinker. Let's delve into this issue. Let's see what's really going on. It really upsets me when I watch these reports. Again, on the positive end, I get the very measured, cogent, scientific viewpoints of Mario Cuomo, that's his father, right? That ran for president. Andrew Cuomo, governor of New York. I get a very measured and rational point of view from that man because he's in the belly of the beast. And in the most cases in America are right there in New York. So, but I get, he knows how grave this problem is, and he wrestled it to a point where he could manage it. And he's trying to send a message to the rest of the governors that you haven't been where I've been yet. So don't act like you can start to ramp up the reopening of your city when you haven't fought the true wrath of the disease. Once again, friends, it's that whole thing of people weighing livelihood over life. That's the thing, friends, that you're going to have to really, really beware of. Be cognizant of it for now on when you watch the nightly news, and if you're going onto YouTube watching other pundits. Be cognizant of that new trend of saying livelihood trumps life. That's a very dangerous choice to make, friends. And it really shows that they're willing to sacrifice human beings just to restore America. But I got news for you, friends. It won't be the way it was. Now, first of all, it's probably going to take a year, maybe 2 years, to get anything like the nation was. And I'm not so crazy about it the way it was myself, personally, because of the races and the classes. So a change needs to be made. But if we're using normal as the way things were, it's not going to be that way, friends. There will, in fact, be a new normal that's relatively unrecognizable at this point. And I'll conclude by saying, if the next stimulus package comes, which it probably will, I don't know what amount or, to whom it will go and what proportion it will go, but it will look a lot like Universal Basic Income, UBI. And as I said in other posts, UBI is going to be a necessity in the age of robotics, AI, and automation. The virus is one thing. It's devastating and it's debilitating, demoralizing, but it's temporary. AI, robotics, and automation is permanent. How will you position yourself in that era, in that new era that's coming? And part of it will have to be a universal basic income, so that when you are displaced because of the upheaval of being replaced by machines, you're going to have to at least be able to survive, so we don't live a dystopian landscape, a dystopian civilization, much like Mad Max or some of these other dystopian movies that you folks love so much, or the zombie movies. Okay? You think you're sitting at your couch watching those for entertainment. If an adjustment isn't made now to understand human consciousness, to elevate human consciousness, we're going to face that kind of dystopia. And being an optimist for the capability of the Homo sapien brain, I do believe we could work our way out of this. But it won't be utopian, okay? Not a utopian subscriber. At the same time, I don't believe in dystopia either. But unless there's a shift in the paradigm, a shift in the mindset, we'll be headed for a dystopian civilization. Um, you know, the signs are there. Anytime people have to fight over toilet paper, hand sanitizer, you know that is a desperation type of behavior. The same behavior that you see amongst wildlife, the jungle, survival of the fittest. That's not befitting of the Homo sapien brain, which we're seeing it out here in the public. And it disturbs me. So I implore all of you to use your critical thinking, get in conversations with like mine, have discussions on the possibilities after this virus has quelled to some degree. So let's elevate our thinking, friends. Let's have real discussion. Let's usher in authenticity. That's something that's really lacking. Authenticity. People are so phony, so superficial, so pretentious. Let's get back to authenticity. Who are you? Who am I? This is who I am. Who are you? What is your plan? What are you going to do? What are you about? What's meaningful to you? Okay? Don't say your job, because friends, I'm telling you, when they even totally open this up, some of you will be in store for a rude awakening. And I'm not talking about 5 or 10 years from now. You're going to have to arise to the reality that probably 40 some odd percent of you won't even be asked to come back to work because they will have replaced you already. And that's in 2020 or 2021. But a larger portion of the population will be replaceable within 5 or 10 years. So let's think about who you are intrinsically. And that's what I think about during most of my waking hours, friends. I said all I need to say right now, friends. This is Theo the Thinker. Checking out. Be blessed, everyone. Use the precautions. Frequent hand washing, hand sanitizer. Wash your face, wear your mask, wear your gloves when you go out in public, and only go out when it's absolutely necessary. Though we've come a mighty long way, friends, we still have a mighty long way to go.